Hey, this is Matt once again. What about the video? This is a paid request, this time for Gia. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, topics, reactions, commentaries, what have you, if you want to send them, feel free. You just send them either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box under pretty much any of these videos. Now, he had another versus Total Recall the original versus Total Recall the remake. I'm like, well, this is not even a slobber knocker. It's not even a tissy fight. It's just a complete 1 second knockdown, Mike Tyson style. I mean, the original all the way. Because the original is better in every single way. Neither one are 100% faithful to the original story. We can remember for you Wholesale, I believe. I believe that's the name of the original story. I could be wrong. Now you think with they're doing the remake, oh, okay, it's going to be a lot like the original story, and no, not really. I mean, yes, there's no Mars, so I guess that makes it different from the original film, but the remake seemed like it still wanted to steal bits from the 1990 movie instead of taking inspiration from the original story. It's like, well, we don't want to change it, so there's no Mars, but oh, here's the three titty lady, this, and this. Oh, we'll put a shitload more, a shitload of lens flares in it. That's just the thing. When you watch the original Total Recall, you see Paul Verhoeven's personality in his directing and energy. You have the great score by Jerry Goldsmith. You got Arnold in his prime, cutting one-liners left and right. To say that divorce, or see you at the party with, or you think this is the real Clyde? It is. You blew my cover. Did these people air? We remember that stuff with a fond smile on our faces. And the over-the-top crazy gore and big blood shots and the villains with like Michael Ironside and Ronnie Cox are fun as the villains, and the Mars setting actually made much more of an interesting backdrop compared to the reject Blade Runner set of the remake. And yes, in the original, I know it's ridiculous with the fucking eyeballs popping up this far out, and yet they pop right back in because you did air, and I'm like, there's no way you guys would be alive. Your eyeball just popped up this far away. I know it's a cool effect, but it's stupid in the original. It makes no sense, but it's fun still. There's no sense of fun in the remake. I mean, Arnold, he, at that time, knew what his assets were. He knew he was a product. That's why, even though I'm more of a Stallone fan from back in the day, Schwarzenegger was a better mind in terms of business, because Stallone, I do think he's a good actor. He wanted to chase those acting dreams. And sadly, the films he picked, I love them, like Lock Up. I even love Over the Top. Well, that was more for money, but still doing a bit more story. Father and son. Arnold knew he was an asset that said, okay, I'm a bigger than life build of a body. People know what they come for. I'm going to give the audience what they want. I'm going to find good directors. So James Cameron, Terminator, Terminator 2. John McTiernan, Predator. Paul Verhoeven, Total Recall. I know at one point he wanted to work with Stuart Gordon after seeing Reanimator. And, sadly that didn't happen. So Arnold would try to chase these good directors because he knew that help further his career. And again, he knew who he was. And so you got Arnold in his prime. That's going to easily beat Colin Farrell, who Colin Farrell, I've liked him in some stuff. He's good in this film called Tigerland. Tigerland is a good movie. Phone Booth, I think, is his best performance. He did a really good job in the new Batman movie as the Penguin. But in the remake, he just came off as bland and generic and dry with no charisma. Blame it on the director, blame it on the writing, blame it on the way the film looked, blame it on the rain, blame it on whatever you want, but that's how it came off as. The... Who do I go to next? The wife, who's not a wife. I think that was better done than the original because, Sharon Stone's coming off as this sweet, nice wife who having fun, and while in the remake, Kate Beckinsale is this police officer, and you kind of always thought she was this kick your ass type of person. But Sharon Stone was that more of a, it was more of that surprise shift where Arnold comes home and he's getting shot at, and oh my god, what the hell are you doing? And Sharon Stone's trying to kill him. That seemed like more of a shock to people compared to Kate Beckinsale doing it. And also, with the original, they didn't have to hold back. They didn't have to hold back on the language. They didn't have to hold back on the nudity. They didn't have to hold back on the violence. It feels, in a way, natural because it lets loose. If someone wants to say fuck, they say fuck. If there's a three-titty lady, and it fits in this world of mutants. Why the fuck does it fit in the original when mutants aren't really a big part of the plot? Oh, there's a three-titty lady, there you go. I don't even remember if that was in the theatrical or that was in the extended cut. I can't even remember because the Total Recall remake is that memorable. Or was that a deleted scene? I can't remember. But the original, like, they could go full force on that, and you could have people get their arms cut off. You could have people, when Arnold gets out of the thing and rips that thing off, it's got that big bolt thing, and gets the guy in the neck, and it comes out, the blood spurting out. It's visceral, and it's violent, and it's impactful. You feel something. You don't feel anything in the remake. The music, Jerry Goldsmith. Great composer, great score. Does anyone remember one note in the remake of Total Recall? Exactly. Plus, I mean, it doesn't help that the remake is PG-13, so it feels much neutered. The story, they kind of play off similar, where a guy who's working a job is going to go to recall, his buddy warns him not to, goes in, does it, things go up shit creek. Now they're super agent. They're on the run. Here's this girl he's been having dreams of. Meets her. This other lady who was his wife is now on the hunt for him. You find out what's really going on. That this was all done to be a mole. But in the original, it made more sense why they went through all that. If you think of it as real. Because there's also the part that, is it a dream, is it not? Even the original, that was more of a question mark. Is it a dream, is it not a dream? I don't think that's at all a question mark in the remake. I don't think there's ever, like, they try, but you never even think about whether it's a dream or not. To this day, people still debating if the original Total Recall was a dream or not. No one has that debate for the remake. But, yeah, in the original, The reason they went through all this for Douglas Quaid to be a mole is because Quato was psychic. He could read into people's minds. So if you just pretended and lied, he could read your mind and be like, you're full of shit. That's why they went all this, to wipe his memory and do all this. To find the leader who, because the Mars and the mutants, why go through all that trouble in the remake? No one's psychic. There's other. What's the point of going through all that shit in the remake? Unless, again, I don't remember the movie that much. Maybe there is some kind of thing I'm not remembering about, but I'm trying to remember if they mentioned an explanation. Also, I made fun of this when I ranted on Total Recall. I called it Lens Flares the movie. That's because everywhere you look, there's big old lens flares here, lens flares there. Especially in the scene when, was it Bokeem Woodbine? I forget who the actor is, who plays Colin Farrell's buddy, and is trying to make him think, oh no, this is all a dream, you're on recall. There's lens flares like in the middle of actors, over here, over here. Why so many scenes in the movie in these lens flares? That's distracting. What is the positive purpose of a lens flare in a movie? J.J. Abrams did that a lot. This film, the remake, did a lot. What is the positive purpose of a lens flare? That's stuff you usually avoid. It's distracting. It doesn't give any, oh, that's cool, or, oh, that gets into the plot. No. I don't see lens flares in real life, like, all the time, as much as this fucking remake did. I'm looking around my room right now, I'm not seeing any lens flares. It's distracting. It's stupid. I'm not saying you never see it. I'm saying you don't see it as often as you do in these fucking movies like J.J. Abrams shit and the remake of Total Recall. And even like the look of the film, in the original, whether it be Douglas Quaid's apartment, whether it be the cab driver that's robotic, thanks for the ride, you know. Even the crazy stuff like getting the implant from the nose, and you have Rob Bottin's effects, and the whole Mars, the way Mars looks, and even the reactors, they're distinct. Here, everything just looks like a generic version of Blade Runner or Minority Report. If you call this Minority Report 2, you would go, wow, that seems kind of like Total Recall, but okay. You could have called this Minority Report 2. And really, you wouldn't have to change a lot. Which is funny because I remember, I don't know if this is true, but I remember reading that if they did a Total Recall 2, it might have been Minority Report. Like, that might have been the story for it. What became Minority Report. And that would have been cool if Arnold Schwarzenegger did a sequel to Total Recall 2 and it became Minority Report. I don't mind Minority Report for what it is with Tom Cruise. I don't mind the film. But can you imagine Paul Verhoeven and Arnold getting together and doing a Minority Report and he has a sequel to Total Recall? That shit would have been cool. Plus, it also would have proven that, yes, it was reality in Total Recall. Which I still think it is. And just think of the villains in the remake. Bryan Cranston is wasted. He's given nothing to do. A lot of robot wannabe stormtroopers. Like, they look like another version of Stormtrooper. And they're just robots. And they shoot this light thing that catches you. What the fuck? That's also to help with the PG-13, because you shoot them, there's no blood. And just the way the film looks, that sort of Put a syringe and suck the color out of the cinematography. There are films that have done that well, but if you're asking my preference, my preference is more color. If I want to see a black and white movie, I would just see a black and white movie. But it's like, well, it's not black and white, but it's color, but we're getting close to it. I'm like, whatever, dude. Stupid filter shit. And then all this shit they try to put in the Easter eggs, like, I do, depending. I'm not sure if it's in the theater. Like I said, I know in one version there's the 3 titty lady. Oh, you have that as an Easter egg to the original. Oh, the 2 weeks. Like they go through the line and there's a girl looking kind of like the costume, the persona that Arnold wore in the original 2 weeks. If people never saw the original Total Recall and they're seeing this for the first time, they're not going to know what the fuck that means. They don't know what the fuck 2 weeks. Okay, why did that lady say 2 weeks? Now we know it because we saw the original, but then again, you watch this, you know, and this is like, other than the Mars, no Mars, it still feels like the same goddamn movie as the original, only PG-13, less color, less charisma, less personality, more PG-13, more CGI, looking more like a video game, with fucking bad guys off of take your video game pick, and a shitload of lens flares. And that's also the movie where the story was there was this fucking elevator that went through the core of the earth. Fuck, I find that more silly than shit in Total Recall with the air. Give these people air. I'll buy that more than going through the core of the fucking earth in an elevator that someone goes through the core of the earth and all the shit that would go into that. I'm not even going to get into. That's right, I buy the stupid shit of the eyeballs popping all the way out here and goes right back in, even though that wouldn't happen. Your eyeball would be left hanging and dead. But, like I said, that's one thing about the original Total Recall I would change, is that it's a cool effect, but have that for a death scene for a bad guy. Not for our heroes to get that far and it's like, eh. Have it be like, they're hanging by a thread, they hang more by a thread, they hang more by a thread. Air's in there, they fall out, they're choking, and then there you go. But then they breathe. Maybe have some, like, a little bit of blood come out of the eye, like there's a little bit of terror, but not too far. A little bit of blood on the nose. Under the nose. But yeah, the remake, I still don't understand why that gets praise. What do you mean praise? It gets a 6.2 on IMDb. I've seen a lot of people talk about how it's underrated. What is there to be rated about it? I mean, if you like the film, the remake, to each their own. I do not think it deserves a 6.2 on IMDb. I think there's a lot better movies that get much lower ratings than that. The action scenes are forgettable. The look of the film is bland. The performances are generic. The plot is copy the original but take out Mars. Instead, it's the core of the Earth. And diluted into PG-13 and add a shitload of lens flares. Maybe it's lens flare enthusiasts. That's what, maybe lens flare enthusiasts enjoy it. I don't know. But yeah, Total Recall, the original, by far and every step of the way, is better than the remake. Calm down, body. My body's revolting me talking about this, so I'll end it here. Thanks for watching. Take care. Get you hasta Mars. And we'll see you. That's another line. Get you hasta Mars. What lines do people remember in the remake? What memorable pieces of dialogue is in the remake? Exactly. So, uh, Rachel Tipton, I thought was more badass in the original compared to. I always get them confused. Jessica Biel and Jessica Alba. I think it's Jessica Biel. This Alba, I think, is Fantastic Four. So yeah, Jessica Biel. I don't mind Jessica Biel as an actress, but again, bland script. Plus, I find it funny that remake came out, and one of the production companies is Original Film. Original Films, but it's a remake of a movie that was based on a short story. Go out, video. We'll see you guys later. Bye bye.